Welcome to Stellenbosch in South Africa, everyone, where tomorrow we will have the opening round of the 2018 Mercedes-Benz UCI Mountain Bike World Cup. Before the wheels start turning, though, we have got together some of the sport's biggest celebrities and the UCI Simon Burney, sorry, to have a chat about the upcoming season, some new formats we're going to see, and some, all the Mountain Bike World Cup chatter. So joining me are the first ever Olympic champion, Bart Brenchens, Maya Wojtowska. We'll come to that. It's close.
Perfect.
It's close. Thank good. Second in
Hello.
last year's World Cup. Hello there. Simon Burney from the UCI. And, sorry, what's your name? Oh, hang on. I know who you are. It's the man of many titles, the world champion, the World Cup overall winner, and the Olympic champion, Nino Schurter. So, Bart, I guess you're getting all revved up for the Cape Epic stage race next week.
That's next week, but first the World Cup tomorrow, and we are here in Stellenbosch, what you said. It's a beautiful area. Around this venue here, there are many mountain bike trails. Almost each winery here have their own trail, and it's a mecca for mountain biking.
Yeah, I know, you seem to enjoy it. Is your suntan purely from cycling? Because someone told me that you sunbathe with a riding shirt on. Just to get the tan line. That's the rumour around the pits, but Maya, how are you? How was my pronunciation of Wojtowska? Pretty good, huh?
It was really good. I'm impressed. Yesterday, Shimano guys were struggling really for like 15 minutes to pronounce it well. So well done, Rob.
Thank you. It's only taken me a decade. And how's your wrist? You're all healed up after the end of last season?
Oh yes, thank you. It's really good. Actually, it was just one World Cup in Val di Sole which healed it up. Like when you stand on the podium and you win overall together with your teammate, then you are so happy that you forget about the wrist.
Yeah, good. Simon, I bet you're as happy as me to get out of the beautiful winter we've been enjoying back in the UK.
Any excuse, Rob? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, last week was miserable, so
bit of a shock getting off the plane, wasn't it?
Yeah, horrible. Yeah.
And you, Nino, I mean, you call this place your second home, right? You've got a house here, you spend a lot of time here, a lot of winter training, you love it.
Yeah, I totally love it. It's a beautiful place to train, to race, and also the lifestyle here is pretty cool. So I'm enjoying here to train. Yeah,
very relaxed. And you're looking forward to the race tomorrow?
Really, yeah. I raced already here on a South African Cup in February, and I like the track, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Good, we'll get into that a little bit later. Well, we want this show to be your show, so please get in touch with us on social media. I mean, look at the panellists we've got here. Please send your questions in using hashtag MB World Cup and hashtag World Cup Chatter, and we will get those questions to these people. We're going to do that a little bit later on. So I think the first thing we should do is have a look at the 2018 season. These are the stops we're going to be going to this summer. Starting here tomorrow in Stellenbosch, and then moving on, waiting for the graphic to drop in, to Albstadt in Germany. It is live. Oh, it's not on our screen. So where's the third stop? Novia Mesto, of course, where we have the biggest crowds of the year. After Val di Sole. Andorra, high altitude.
And there we go, Monsen then.
Which me and you like because we race there.
Yeah, I think the most technical course.
That's right.
La Bresse finals.
With a new track there as well this year.
New venue.
Nino, you did win every single race last year. Are there any of those that you don't like, I suppose? This is the good question.
No, actually, I like every single race. It's always a new challenge, some different needs you need to have on all the different courses, and yeah, I like the challenge, I like the competition, so I'm looking forward to all of them.
Do you never get to a track and think this might not be such a good course for me? That doesn't get into your head?
Yeah, there's one maybe, like Albstadt is a bit of too much climbing for me. I like the shorter climbs, a bit more yeah, punchy courses, and Albstadt probably suits me not the best, but also there it's another challenge. It's also something. It's the spectators are cool there. It's a nice atmosphere.
Yeah,
so
it's a big race.
So I also like Albstadt. It's probably not the best course for myself. So yeah.
Well, you didn't do too bad there last season, but you're the first ever Olympic champion. He's the current Olympic champion. What really did he do last year? Put into some perspective what we saw from Nino.
We talk about that, the perfect season, winning all World Cups, all individual races, the World Championships as well. I mean, yeah, that's something amazing. it's not only that you have to be good week by week, but it's a whole season, different courses, different places. You have to be at least healthy already for each single event, and that's something amazing already for a human body. But you won them all last season. That's something incredible, and I think it's not that easy that somebody else repeated again. But probably that's a good challenge for you to do it again in this season.
Yeah, thank you, Bart. But yeah, it was a big team effort. I have an awesome team around me that also helps me to achieve actually those results and keep healthy through the whole season. No mechanics, so it's a big.
But especially after that Olympic season, I mean, you still must have a kind of a motivation, which is incredible.
Yeah, after Olympics it changed a lot for me. That was my big dream to get Olympic champion. I achieved that dream, and now I can actually start all races with less pressure. I take it as it's come, race by race, and I'm still doing my homeworks and preparing me well, but I don't feel anymore that pressure, and that's a pretty good combination. Sounds
like it might be more enjoyable than ever then at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. It's like if pressure was getting quite hard towards the Olympic Games, and when I got this release, and now I just can enjoy every race much more and focus more on my performance actually as well.
And well, the rest of the competition will be thrilled to hear that.
I saw a small video from you on Instagram yesterday doing the core stability training in a new way again compared to last season already, where you were far ahead of everybody else. But I mean, I'm not a rider anymore, but still it motivates me when I see you training like that. That's something, yeah.
But it's also fun training, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fun as well.
It looks so interesting that you want to do that.
It's not a boring exercise what you have to repeat, but time by time. But it's new things.
But also there, I was lucky to actually meet my trainer really early, Nicolas Siegenthaler. I doing this kind of training since 20 years, and now I actually can take the big benefits out of it. I started really early to train coordination stuff that also focus on the downhill and not just on my endurance performance.
Marge, do you think it's anything that we're seeing the women's as someone winning every race in 1 year? Is it possible?
Of course it's possible, but definitely it's crazy hard. In the women's field you can see that the level is like very high, and very many riders is very close to each other, but it's also changing. Actually, already last year, Jana Belomoina surprised everybody with such a steady season and winning like half of the World Cups, and that was really impressive. But then you had many new names coming. Actually, every World Cup, there was surprising win by Annie Last in Lenzerheide, and she won silver medal at the World Champs. Me fighting for the second position overall with a pretty strong field, because there was, I think, like 4 riders in Val di Sole who could get second
more,
place.
Actually. Yeah.
So women's racing is actually crazy interesting.
And Simon, I mean, you go to a lot of different events, cycling events all over the globe. What I think is just crazy about the Women's World Cup is that someone can win that's 20 years old, or they could be 45, 46 years old.
I mean, we've got some women, Sabine Spitz, Gunrita Dahler, that have been doing this for 20 years, at the same level. And you've got the young ones coming through from the under-23 field. So it's, the women's, like Maya said, the women's racing has just been amazing the last 2 or 3 years, and it just continues to get better. And the strength and depth in the women's racing is great to see.
Yeah, it is. Well, continue to send your questions into us on social media. We've got one here from Mathieu's G via Facebook for Nino. Have you ever considered starting in cyclocross races?
I tried me once or twice in a cyclocross in Switzerland, but I more prefer this kind of weather conditions like we have here. So I'm
with you, Nino.
So
with you, Nino.
Yeah, I'm with you too.
So that's why I'm actually not really.
We have to ask the opposite the question to Mathieu Van De Poele.
That's right. Well, he's having it. Yeah, he's coming in, and he's coming in hot, I think. So
yeah, it's nice to see him coming to mountain bike. That he's looking for another challenge, and looking forward to battle with him.
Do you think that he'll be Nino's biggest competitor this year?
I think one of them, not only Mathieu Van De Poele, but Nino knows as well. There's a few young riders coming up. They're becoming stronger year by year. And last year, most of the time, they were already happy with the second place if you beat them. And for them, it means probably a win. But I think the young guys, they know what they have to do, and they're working really hard. And it's a matter of time.
Yeah, I'm sure we see some new youngs coming up. There are a few now that are pushing hard, and I try my best also to.
Probably it motivates you even more to stay on that high level.
Yeah, sure. I always try my best, and I'm working hard. And if some new ones coming with a bit new style, like I battle now the past years a lot with Julien, with Jaroslav, I know them really well now. If some new ones coming up where they have strengths maybe on a other part, it's also a new challenge for me. And
yeah, it's going to be an interesting year. I think we're going to see those youngsters are really going to want to try and take your scalp, as they always have. But well. Actually, we found out, your team manager, Thomas Frischnet, who is one of the greatest there's ever been. We sent Rick, a field reporter, to go down there and have a chat with him about Nino's performance last year.
Well, I've managed to catch up with one of the very best of all time, the Scotch Ram team manager, Thomas Frischnet. Thomas, you'll know better than anybody else. You were in the pit all last season with Nino. Just how impressive was his perfect season for you?
Well, it sure was extraordinary, and I think he was just on that perfect wave, riding that perfect wave, and a little bit of luck too, that he can go all season long without any mechanicals and all of this. So it all just played together. It was impressive.
And of course, it felt like any time that we came to talk to him, he just seemed to be getting more and more relaxed. How impressive is the mental aspect of being able to do what he did?
Well, sure, the mental aspect is more important than the physical, I think, because at the top where Nino is against the best in the world, they're all physically well prepared and well trained. They're all the world's best talents, and at the end, I think mountain biking is a mental game that decides between winning and losing. And it is true that every victory that he had more under the belt, he got more confident, and he had not much to lose. He won everything. Also, Olympics kind of made a big played a big factor in last year's season. That he was here to just play, take it serious but not too serious. Was confident, and that mix was probably the winning formula.
I suppose the biggest question on everybody's lips is, can he keep the streak alive? Can he keep going this weekend?
I truly believe that he can, but I also know it's a matter of time that there will be someone beating him, because the younger riders are pushing, and maybe even here in Stellenbosch, it's kind of this early start in the season mixes up the game a little bit. You have guys from New Zealand in particular that are really strong coming out of the summer. The European riders have a pretty tough winter behind as far as weather conditions go, so maybe they are the non-Europeans have a chance of doing well here early in the season. But to be honest, I know how important this race is for Nino. He's spending a lot of time down here. He calls it his second home, Stellenbosch, and to him this race means a lot, and he will give it all to keep his winning strike going.
Well, that's what Thomas thinks. We've asked our very own Rob Warner to have a gaze into his crystal ball and predict his top 5 riders to watch this season.
Could I run a moustache for World Cup presentations? So, men's cross country. Who to watch in 2018? Well, I've got one name for you. Perfect season, Nino Schurter. Don't bother with anyone else. Honestly, he's going to absolutely rinse him. Well, unfortunately, it isn't just about Nino Schurter, although he did win every single World Cup race of 2017. 6 starts, 6 wins. It was something quite phenomenal to watch. A few riders rose up and had a pop at him, but Schurter rode every challenge out. Will it be the same in 2018? Here's who to look out for. I'm going to start with an outsider. When I say an outsider, he's a little bit of a mountain biking outsider. That's because he comes from the sport of cyclocross. He was the 2015 world champion, and this man is something of a phenomenal talent. Mathieu Van De Poele dropped into mountain biking last year just to see how he'd get on. He had set the fastest lap times in Novi and Mesto, quicker than anyone, and a week later in Albstadt, well, to me, he pushed Nino Schurter harder than anyone did all season long. He stayed on his wheel all the way through that race until a crash ruled him out. This year, we've heard that he is committed to a full season of mountain bike racing. We do know for a fact he'll be on the start line in Stellenbosch. This might be something very, very special. Another rider that really gave Nino Schurter a fright was the big man from the Czech Republic, the former Olympic and World Cup champion, Jaroslav Kulhavý. He waited until we were on Nino's home soil in Lenzerheide to really turn the screw, actually coming back at Schurter to finish just 3 seconds off him at the finish line. Jaroslav can be a touch unpredictable, but when he's on, he is on, and he can be simply unbeatable. Second in last year's World Cup series went to Stefan Tempier. The man with the most unorthodox style in world mountain biking had his best ever World Cup finish. And in fact, he pushed Nino Schurter every inch of the way at the World Cup finals. Coming into 2018, this is the man that spearheads the French attack. And there's plenty of them. Maxime Marot, Victor Koretsky, Jordan Sereau, and of course, how can we not mention the sport's greatest ever rider, Julian Absalon, back this year with a brand new team set up around himself. He's going to be pretty motivated. Looking at it, there's a few riders that might be able to stop that winning streak of Nino Schurter in its tracks. To find out if they can, you need to watch the Mercedes-Benz UCI Cross Country Mountain Bike World Cup live on Red Bull TV. We'll see you there. Well, if anyone out there is looking for a scarecrow for the winter, I am available for rent from October. That's just one of the clips you can find on our social media channels. Please check them out. Right, we've got some more social media questions coming in. This one for Maya and Nino. Ladies first, of course, Maya. Who do you see as your main opponents this year?
Do we have a lot of time? Because there's many girls, you know.
Yeah, there's a few to get through, right? But
yeah,
the big ones.
Definitely. I definitely expect Annika Langvad again fighting for overall win. I know that she's already in a great shape, being already on Cyprus and also preparing for Cape Epic that starts next week. I'm very curious about her teammate, Kate Courtney. That will be her first race in Elite. And last year she had great lap times in the under-23 race.
Really? You think she could come straight in and be podium in the Elite?
You never know what young riders can bring. Just look at Yolanda. Yeah. She's the youngest ever winner of the overall World Cup, and I definitely count on her also for this year. So, okay, she is both my opponent and teammate. But any of us is winning, then it's great. And I'm also looking at Katrin Pendrell. Last year was not her best, but she already did very well in Banyoles this year, and she spent a lot of time in Europe.
She said she's feeling a lot stronger this year coming in.
Yeah, so, exactly. Yeah. So I hope to have a few good battles with her too.
Cool. Nino, I mean, we touched on it a little bit with Mathieu Van De Poele, but who do you see as being your main opponent? If it's him, say it.
Yeah, for sure, Van De Poele.
Really?
I have on my list. He showed a great performance already last year. Now he focuses a bit more on mountain bike, so he's definitely someone to watch out.
We'll find out tomorrow.
Then, Jaroslav. He said he's not that fit right now at the moment, but I'm sure during this season he's in his best again. And
might be in Lenzerheide this year that he peaks, I think, don't you?
Yeah, he's always doing good in Lenzerheide. So, but this year we have Worlds there. I really hope I can beat him. He was the last 2 Worlds in Switzerland. He always was in front of me. So this time yeah, and then young ones like or Stefan Tampier, also it's the same age like me. I have also him on the list.
He was strong last year.
He was strong last year. Sam Gaze, a bit the younger one. He's a powerful rider. Probably him suits quite well those short track races.
Yes.
So yeah, there are a few riders I have to watch out. But I always try to focus on myself, try to focus on my performance, and then see if hopefully I can battle then for the win as well.
I don't think it's been a bad approach, to be honest. So anyway, we're going to talk about short track, and there's a few other new things that are coming into 2018. Simon, can't help but notice the title Mercedes-Benz now. I mean, what does that mean for mountain biking?
I mean, it's a prestigious name, and I think to have them as a title sponsor of the World Cup for this year, I think it just brings a lot more credibility to the sport, in as much as the teams and other sponsors can say, hey, if Mercedes-Benz are interested in this, then it means something and it's important. From the sports point of view, it's just giving us more opportunities to look at improving the sport, whether that's taking it to more places, to improve the prize money for the riders, to do other things that we can do with their help. So we've been looking for a title sponsor for a few years now. It's been a little bit of a bleak period, since we last had one for the Mountain Bike World Cup. So it's a great name, and it's really gonna help over the next 3 years for sure.
Yeah, it's gonna be, it feels to me like mountain biking is getting back to where it should be. You know what I mean?
I mean, we were around in the 90s when we got big name sponsors, and the teams had big name sponsors. And I think now if a team wants to go to a sponsor from outside of the bike industry and say, hey, this Mercedes sponsored this sport, I think it gives it so much credibility, and I think the teams will really benefit from it as well as the sport itself. So I think it's a win-win, really.
Yeah,
and hopefully they win as well. We want Mercedes to get a massive benefit from being involved in this sport.
Give us each a car next year.
Well, I already got mine last week, Rob, so I don't know where yours went.
Okay. And we're seeing some new teams, but were you surprised by Julian Absalon? I mean, he is still the most successful World Cup racer of all time. He retired actually last year, but decided against that in the winter and has come back with a new team. Is that a surprising move for you?
Not a really surprising thing, but maybe it's an investment for him as well to stay in mountain biking and try to learn the young riders a bit from himself. So he invested in a new team, probably a lot of extra work for him during the winter. Maybe it affects him in the performance for this race, but probably he will have some people around him who do some work, and definitely he did some training for this race. But I think it's a good step forwards that he stays in mountain biking with his own team.
He didn't pick the riders' numbers up. He's not doing the team manager thing this year.
Not quite there, Not sat in meetings, no. Okay. Well, we touched as well on the fact that there's going to be a brand new discipline this year, which is short track racing, which is now a big part of the overall points that riders can leave cross-country World Cups from. I'm going to let you explain it, Si, believe it or not. Go on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this is for you.
So short track, it's like between a 20 and a 25-minute race on a lap of around sort of 2 kilometres. So that kind of 3.5-4 minute lap. And we're going to introduce it as a World Cup discipline, so it gives these guys
it's
points.
Mandatory, right?
It's not mandatory. We can't force Nino if he doesn't want to do it. But if he doesn't do it, the chances of him winning the World Cup are probably not going to happen. So if they want the points for the World Cup overall, then they really need to be performing in the short track. It also, the result of the short track is going to influence the call up for the cross country 2 days later.
The start line, yeah.
Exactly. So the top 16 from the short track race will be the first 2 rows that get called up for the cross country race. And as these guys know, the start is crucial in a cross country race. So everyone's going to be fighting for those first 2 row start positions, which means that hopefully the short track race is going to be exciting. And it kind of kicks off the World Cup weekend. So it's a short, fast race. 25 minutes for the women, 25 minutes for the guys. The spectators can kind of see the action up close, fast. It's over quickly. It's just a nice introduction to the weekend. But again, it's important for these guys.
And that said, what's the reason we're not having one at round 1? Because it's going to be at each other round, but...
Yeah, so the way the World Cup works, the contracts with the organisers are signed a couple of years previously, and we only kind of figured out getting the short track in last year. Really from the request of the teams, really. So then it was outside of the contractual obligations of each organiser. Most of the other organisers were happy.
Yeah.
This organiser, it's their first World Cup. They want us to do this one properly and not to kind of be overwhelmed with another event. So they just decided
they've delivered an amazing track for us.
They have, absolutely, yeah.
We've got a question now in on social media from Tom Lowry's for Nino and Maya. How do you feel about the short track races then that will be decisive for the order of the start grid of the World Cup? Maya first.
There was already many discussions about that. I'm
imagine.
also a member of Athletes Commission, so I've had some hard talks with many riders. One of them are happy, the others not. But first of all, I think it's good because that will force all the riders to do the short race. And I think if we want to grow up the discipline, then we need to bring the new things. And my dream would be to make the short race another Olympic discipline. Then it would be absolutely great for the whole our sport. And to make it happen, we need to take part in it. And actually, it's good because all the riders who are not really good sprinters, they have to change their training. So it's another motivation. It's a new challenge. So
good to see you got an open mind on it. Anyway, and yourself, Nina, what do you think to it?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I think it's a good thing for the sport. It's like, we have another race to present us, to present our sponsors. If we travel far, like down here or to Canada for just one race, it's something also crazy. And I think it's a good thing. And
is it going to make the perfect season? Not that we're putting any pressure on you to deliver another one, but it's certainly not going to make it any easier, is it?
Another 7 races.
It's definitely more difficult to win a short race. It's much more tactic. You need even more good luck. You need a strong team as well that helps you. And I think it's essential that you do well, but you don't have to win like those races. You have maybe if you are in top 10, you have a good position, you get some points for the overall, but you don't have to win all of them or just to be.
And it's half the points.
That could be pretty awesome if you do that.
What?
That would be really awesome if you do that.
Yeah,
that's a challenge, maybe.
But I think that's we are going to see for sure a lot of different winners of the short track races, just because it's much more tactic involved. It's like I'm sure there are a lot of sprints really to the finish line with maybe 5, 6, or even 10 riders. And I'm sure that's going to be exciting racing. And it's really important for us riders to actually be then in those 2 first rows to start. And for sure some riders will suit better and some less. So
but it's an evolution of the sport, that's for sure.
It will change quite a bit, the sport, I think so.
And Bart, the riders have to use the same bike, I believe, for the short track race as they do for the cross-country races. Is that going to make things more difficult in that department?
Yeah, it might. 50% of the points which you can earn on the Sunday race, you can win in the short track. So, it's a value for the overall, the points. So, and the bike sometimes it makes a difference. And if it's an easy course, it's a flat course. Yeah, maybe a hard hill. It's a faster bike in that decision, but maybe for the Sunday race you need the fully. So it wouldn't make it easier for the riders, but it's a good thing that you can only use one bike.
Cool. Okay. Well, let's talk now about the women's competition coming in this year, and I'll stay with you, Bart, because last year's World Cup winner Jannabella Moina isn't here. Bart's her team manager. Go on, tell us what's happened.
Yeah, what happened with Jana, she had a great season last year. She won the overall, but sadly she had a bad crash with her road bike in October. She broke her hip, and she slept away in a corner and broke her hip, which took her in hospital for a couple of weeks, surgery, iron in it, and it took a while to recover from that.
She was in hospital a fair while, right?
Yeah, a fair while, and
big injury.
Yeah, it means actually your whole winter is gone, and you need to have a good preparation, a good base training before the season starts. So she has been with us a couple of weeks, a week ago for a couple of weeks on Cyprus training camp, and she was riding pretty strong already, so it wasn't that bad. But when she is back, she wants to be acting on the highest level. So she decided not to come here to make that long travel and preparing for the first World Cup in Europe for her, Albstadt. But before that, she will do already some smaller races to be in a good shape.
Okay, cool. We look forward to that. And, you know, we've got to talk about Jolanda, your teammate. You're also close friends with her. But so the story is she broke her shoulder,
she broke collarbone and a little bone close to the elbow.
Just 5 weeks ago, right?
Yeah, exactly. It was a crazy crash together with Pauline van Prevot, who is another favorite here, actually. And she decided not to come in the beginning, what was quite obvious. Like
well, didn't she turn up as a spectator last week at the race in Spain and decided to, well, I might as well have a go now?
Actually, Jolanda came for a training camp, and I was sure that she will just train there. And then she said that, actually, I may try to race this weekend in Spain. And then I asked, oh, do you? Yeah, and then maybe I will do South Africa race. Oh, do you? So we were a bit worried, like the whole cross
Don't worry, it's Jolanda, she'll be fine.
But in Chalva it was pretty technical car since it started to rain before. But thankfully with Jolanda's skills, she rode it smoothly and really fast. So.
But it's amazing if she recovered that quick from a broken collarbone. Isn't it? Like 5 weeks?
Yeah,
the surgeries helped it, I guess, the plate.
It's still painful, but doctors told her that as long as she doesn't crash, then it's okay to race.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we cross the fingers that she won't.
No, that's right. What do you think of Jolanda? I mean, she's Swiss as well, but they made us tough stuff over there, haven't you?
Yeah, it's impressive. She is that quick back, but yeah, she has also amazing skills, and I think she can handle that. And I think I see her as a potential winner of tomorrow's race.
Yeah, let's be honest. Yeah, you know, even riding with a broken collarbone, she'll be hard to beat. Rick Wedden found her earlier in the week.
I managed to catch up with the world champion Jolanda Neff. Jolanda, first of all, you've had a bad crash lately. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it's 5 weeks now that I crashed in the Cyclocross World Cup in Hogerheide. And yeah, I mean, it was just a racing accident. It can happen anytime when you push for the limit, when you push for every second. So yeah, unfortunately it took me out a few weeks. I had surgery on my collarbone. And I really didn't expect to be here in South Africa. It's a huge surprise for me, a happy surprise, of course. We always planned I would come back for Alpstad, but the last few weeks training has been going pretty well. I haven't been off-road at all until last weekend, and then I was in Spain with my team. So we decided pretty spontaneously that I do the race there. I went on the racetrack with my team. It went all well. I did the race and I won, and so we booked a flight to South Africa.
Has that injury changed your goals for 2018 at all? Has it changed how you're going to approach the season?
Well, first I thought this would be a big change to my plans. I thought, yeah, I will miss the first round. I will have a long way of building up and coming back. But now that I can be here, this is absolutely amazing for me, because I'm hoping that I now can do all the World Cup rounds, which would be amazing. I haven't been able to do this the last 2 years, and I would just love to race every single World Cup round, and that I can kick the season off here in Stellenbosch this weekend. That's amazing.
And who do you think are going to be the toughest riders to beat this year?
I'm not thinking about that a lot. I'm just thinking how I can keep my collarbone safe, how I can keep it in one piece, hopefully, that I can work on my shape on coming back. And well, what I hope for is that Maya will be in the front, hopefully together with me, so we can fight for the team podium, which we won last year. That would be a great thing to do together for the whole team, also for the staff and for all the people that are working in the background for us. That would be an amazing achievement.
Well, Jolanda's obviously playing her cards pretty close to her chest, but now it's time to consult our very own mountain biking wise man and get Rob Warner's top 5 riders to watch.
Could I run a moustache for World Cup presentations? The 2017 Women's Cross Country World Cup was sensational. I think it was a year when we saw a real changing of the guard, some young riders finally getting onto the top step of the podium, and 2018 is looking like it's going to be no less exciting. Well, the biggest surprise of last year had to be the young Ukrainian Yana Belomoina. She came, she saw, and she conquered the World Cup Series. She actually won half of the races to take that title. Will 2018, though, be a case of the hunter becoming the hunted? Can she take the pressure now the target's on her back? We're about to find out. If you talk about favourites in women's cross-country, you have to mention Jolanda Neff. She was the youngest woman ever in the history of the sport to take that overall World Cup title, although she's been completely devoid of any World Championship medals. That was until last year when she stepped it up down under to take home the gold. The current world champion won't be on the start line at the opening race though. A nasty accident at a Cyclocross World Cup in January sees her nursing a broken collarbone and elbow. Get well soon, Jolanda. We'll have to wait until round 2 to see that all-out Swiss style. Involved in that crash with Jolanda was her old sparring partner, Pauline Ferrand-Prévot, who luckily escaped any serious injury. Now, these two do have some history, but this was a pure racing incident with both of them sending out each other plenty of love on social media shortly afterwards. Prévot is an incredible talent on two wheels. She's been a mountain bike world champion in the past, as well as a road and a cyclocross world champion, all at the same time. Mountain biking though, she's been sidelined with injury the last few years, but at the end of 2017, we got a snippet of what she's capable of. She took bronze at the World Championships behind Jolanda. Pauline Ferrand-Prévot is one of the biggest talents women's cycling has ever seen, and she's on the rise again. Everyone had better watch out. World Cup veteran, I better be careful what I say, she's only 34 years old still. Maja Włoszczowska had her best ever World Cup campaign last year. That despite a broken wrist mid-season. It was an emotionally charged ride for her at the finals in Val di Sole that saw her ride herself to second overall in the World Cup, her first time ever inside the top 3. You get the feeling when she's not riding one-handed, she's going to be even better. So from one of the veterans to one of the sport's rising stars. From the USA, it's Courtney. She was under-23 World Cup winner last year. In fact, she completely dominated that category, and now it's time to find out what she can do in the elite ranks. I can tell you, looking at her lap times, she's very, very capable of getting on the podium. Let's see what she can do. Well, it's time to say thanks to whoever gave me the task of narrowing it down to just 5 women. They're my pick, but believe me, there are many, many, many more women that can step up and take wins in 2018. Make sure you tune in. Okay, everyone, well, as you can see, that was shot a little while back, and Jolanda has gone against doctor's orders to be racing tomorrow. She shouldn't be. I was in saying how we wouldn't be seeing her at the start. We've got some more questions in here then on social media. Kevin Al on Facebook. This one I think I'll give to you, Si. Do you think the difficulty of the technical challenges on World Cup courses should increase, remain the same, or reduce?
Well, I think it depends on the venue and the course, you know, and I think right now we've got the balance pretty good. I think we'd have to ask the riders themselves.
We will,
but I think, you know, from my point of view, I think we've got a good balance of technical, physical in most of the places that we visit, you know, and I think it was getting pushed a couple of years ago to see who could do the biggest rock garden, who could get the biggest jump from the organisation point of view, and I think we kind of pulled them back in a little bit, and we're not seeing riders getting injured too badly, and I think the riders actually enjoy the fun elements of courses like this, you know. Maya,
what's your take on it? The course is getting too technical, or?
I would say no, that as long as you have beeline, then riders always have option. Of course, if there is something dangerous, then we expect that there will be some mattress on the tree that will let you avoid some bad injuries. But you know, if you will look at the riding style a couple of years ago, nobody was doing the drops, nobody was doing the jumps, and now like nobody really thinks about the jumps, like they just jump. So riders' skills improved a lot, and
the bikes improved a lot as well, I guess, really, in the last few years. But drop a seat post have enabled these courses to come through a little bit.
We have a lot of riders on full suspension bikes. Also, I'm riding dropper seat post, which I love, and that's actually good that we.
I think it's quite well balanced now. If it's too technical and too rough stuff, it takes also the field too much apart, and you also want to still see a bit of a tactic race. And I personally prefer like the technical courses because it's one of my strengths. But if it's too technical, it's also a bit then it makes it too. Yeah, it pulls everything too much apart, and you also sometimes
it's more difficult for the riders to stay together. If it's too technical.
The field becomes a bit.
But still, I'm wondering how good riders stay together. even on a technical course like Monsunen or even here on these sections.
But are these tracks pretty much exactly what you rode back 20 years ago? They haven't changed at all, have they, really?
Absolutely.
And what about the bikes?
All the bikes, that's right.
Yeah, bikes change a lot, but also the tracks, they change a lot. But still a lot of parts, even on this track, where you need physical skills, endurance, pushing the bike really hard, the pedals. It's not only the descents where you make the difference.
I would love to see you with your bike in the 90s riding across the
Yeah.
That would be a tough one.
Don't worry, Nino, we'll make it happen.
You make a legend race.
I still have my bike from 2004 from Athens with that narrow handlebar and
Disc brakes in
V-brakes.
2004, yeah. Oh, I had V-brakes then, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy, yeah.
Okay, we've got another question in on social media from Jim Timothy, from Maya and Nino. If you had to choose, would you rather ride a cross-country bike down a downhill track or a downhill bike around an XC track? Ladies first.
Oh damn, that's a hard one.
Yeah.
No, I think like going up the hill with a downhill bike is an absolute disaster. I cannot imagine that one. But on the other hand, the downhill courses are just crazy, and I don't know how they ride even on the downhill bike. So it's a hard question, and no, I wouldn't like to try any of those actually.
What do you think about that, Nino?
Yeah, it's definitely both ways not really fun, but
No, one of them downright dangerous. Let's be honest. Taking an XC bike wouldn't be great down a downhill.
But the XC bike with the saddle down, I think
you'd get down.
Maybe 80% of a track you can ride, and the rest you just walk.
A big gap.
Or maybe we just pick up.
But the downhill bike on a cross-country course, that would really be a bad experience.
Or we could just pick up enduro bike and then do both.
Another question from Myra B here from Facebook. Hardtail or full suspension, or what would your decision be usually? What makes you choose one of the two?
It definitely depends on the race course. Like if it's very rough, then of course you gain a lot thanks to full suspension. But if there is a lot of climbing, like in Alpstadt, then definitely you want to have a light bike and the one that is super stiff. So it's the decision to make before every single World Cup, actually.
It's been a while since we've seen you on a hardtail, though, right?
Yeah, I'm riding 95% on a full suspension. I'm not that happy with that rule, like Bart, like with riding the same bike in a short track and the cross country. I think it's
not my rule.
It's great.
Blame Simon.
I think I will try to discuss with Simon on Monday, as you have the mountain bike commission.
You definitely have to ride then once a bike that's maybe not the best one for this track. So.
Yeah.
But it's a rule. It's for everyone the same, and we are going to see more hardtails because of the short track race.
Interesting that. You think they're about as well?
Yeah, I think especially for Alpstadt, a race like that, where you have a lot of advantage on that long climb with a hardtail, with that short track on Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Simon, what's your take on that? Or
honestly, well, I mean, it was the team.
I'm waiting.
It was the teams that asked for the rule. You know, they were like, yeah, we don't want to travel with like all these bikes, different wheels. You know, especially flying different continents. You know, so they were like, can we just have a one bike for both races, Reg? So I just did what I was asked.
Well done. Okay, cool. Well, I think you're pretty keen to get out of the sun. I'm going to say thanks very much for joining us. It's been a bit of an eye-opener. Oh, we've had another question in from Tim at Biss here. Oh, yeah, I can see why they've pushed this one through. Rob, do you dye your beard, or is that beauty all natural? Yeah, I dye it, actually. Thanks very much for joining us. Thanks for joining us home. That was World Cup Chat. The racing starts here tomorrow at midday. Check Red Bull TV for what time it starts locally. Until then, goodbye from all of us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.